Roger Stone here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. That's actual physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or you're retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone right now for your free Roger Stone Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit. Or call 800-747-6589. That's 800-747-6589. Call now to receive your free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.
Special guest with us today. Great pleasure. Paul Stone, Chairman and CEO of the Colonial Metals Group. Right here with me in studio. Paul, welcome. As always, I want to talk gold for a moment. Gold lost some ground this week. It's just hovering around $2,500. Now, you and I talked about this a while back. In the last 25 years, gold has outperformed stocks by a lot, actually. Actually, silver has outperformed stock. You in the silver business too? You're
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, last night on the TV show, I had the brilliant investor John Paulson, who is an advisor to Donald Trump. But Mr. Paulson has literally made a fortune by buying gold down through the years, at least one at one point. He may still, I don't know. We were talking about it back and forth, with these deficits and high interest expense. Gold is a hedge against inflation, no question about that. But I raised the point, a lot of people might be buying gold because they look at the American budget in deficit every year by $2 trillion, with interest expenses now rising to $1 trillion a year. And I think besides the inflation concern, which is key, people say, you know what? The U.S. government's a company that may not be able to pay its bills. And frankly, I'd like to hang on to something hard like gold. What do you make of that story?
That's perfect. It's right there, almost extraordinarily close to the core of the reason to own gold and silver. And you could already say the government is bankrupt, can't pay its bills. It's the $35 trillion in debt, right? So if things get really rough, like we know as human beings that there's a beginning and an end to things. Right? We look back at reserve currency country histories. We see there was many countries that had it and lost it before us. And we can ask ourselves a simple question. Do we have anything in common with those reserve currency countries? Yeah, we had they had governments that didn't preside well over that success story. They ruined it. And so eventually the government gets so much power that it really can stymie out and crush the economy that surrounds it. And our government was, $75 billion in payroll in 1981 when Reagan took office. And today that government payroll, to give you an idea of how vast the government is now, is $1.4 trillion. And when you start looking at just those, a general, correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, general tax income for the government is around $2.5 trillion a year. If they're spending $1.4 trillion on payroll and $1 trillion on interest on the debt, they got to print. So then you think, damn, this could end. Something could really end here that we're all used to. Let's just say something we're used to ends. Where would you rather have had your money located when that tough time comes around the corner? And your options are dollar-based investments or non-dollar-based investments. And I would consider real estate still dollar-based. So then there's gold and silver.
Which do you prefer?
Well, silver.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But when
Is
you
that
look
because
at
it's relatively cheaper in a historic basis? The gold-silver ratio, which I used to follow, not so much anymore, but I think the gold-silver ratio is pretty high. So in some sense, silver might be the cheaper investment.
Exactly. That's one of the visuals that people look to see. Where am I at? Kind of like a PE ratio, when those used to matter.
Yes.
When they used to matter.
Well, you don't like NVIDIA at 60, 70 times a week? Well, don't comment on that. It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Silver closed at $27.91. But I will add, for our listeners' purposes, over the last 25 years, silver has also outperformed the S&P 500.
Yes, and let's look at silver and gold during the two crises that we can look at that were very impactful here in our country's history. Carter's inflationary period in the last recession, the '08 recession, the Great Recession. Silver runs from around 4 into the 40s. That's 1,000% return on your money during Carter. Gold ran from around 200 into the 600s, so 300% return. And silver ran from, if you started around the average price in around 2008, silver was around 12 and ran to 50. So that's a 400% return on your money on silver. And gold in 08 ran from about 700 to 2,000. So a little like 150% return. So it always seems to do a hell of a lot more growth for the investor, bigger bang for your buck than gold does. Where gold's important is it's the independent confirmation agent that trouble is amid. We have great things to worry about around us. Because if it's not moving and no one wants it, right? If there's no troubles, if we don't have fear of things breaking and we don't have fear of what Kamala could do if she wins on November 5th, if you don't have a fear of any of that, you don't need gold and silver, and I'm doing something different with my life.
I know, you're just going, what me worry. In your operation, Colonial Metals Group, how do people buy gold and silver?
They call us.
And what do you give them?
Physical gold and silver. We have discussions
Physical delivery.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, that's the whole ball game.
So I got to build a new basement, put my gold bars.
There's depositories nearby that we could use, but we do send out a free safe to clients that qualify. We have different sizes.
Right.
We've sent, up to, safes that were, massive. They would hold, thousands of ounces of silver, all the way down to something that would go in your closet.
And another question, I get this all the time. That's why I'm going through more definitional stuff today. You like gold, physical gold or silver,
both,
not gold stocks.
Heck no.
Talk a bit about that.
Thank you, Larry. That's lovely because it helps people get maybe the final visual what I'm trying to help people see, and that is you've got the perception is our troubles will exist mostly in the digital financial world. So when you move to gold and silver is to try to identify every risk or dependency that you can get off your money. You're trying to get free and clear of counterparty risk. So how do I get out of my gold stocks, my mining stocks? I make a phone call. Well, that world might be struggling and suffering, and I have trouble exiting that position.
Everything's going down. Everything's on offer. Nothing's on bid.
Exactly.
And that's a different game than actually owning the physical gold and silver is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting point. It's a very important point. Gold stocks could get clobbered just because everything else is going down. And the exchanges can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. That's a great point. So Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals. By the way, we've got colonialmetalsgroup.com/Kudlow. I'm supposed to say that.
Yes,
Happy
sir.
to do
Thank
it.
you, sir.
And there's a phone number, 800-621-3908. You can call 800-621-3908. Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals Group. Great pleasure to have you right here. Nice to have dinner with you the other night, too.
Absolutely,
and
Larry.
Meeting your bride. I
We
appreciate
love you.
it.
We love this partnership. We are so grateful.
Thanks,
to be
everybody.
working with
We'll
you.
be right back.